Welcome to Just Recently with Joy. On this show, there's no criticism, no judgment. We're just talking. Welcome to Just Recently with Joy. And today with me again, the sweets are here again with me. With a pleasure. Dr. Miriam, can you tell me a little bit more about you? The things that you do and stuff.
Certainly. Well, I'm Miriam Macmillan Sweet, and this is the sweet man that brought the sweet part onto my name. I have been in South Florida for 35 years. I have been in the insurance industry for 26 years now. And my good friend and loved one, Georgina, got me into it, insurance. I help people. I believe in helping people, and that has been my job for 26 years, in helping people, that special people coming into our lives. Yes, I have been blessed to get a degree, a bachelor's, a master's, as well as a doctorate degree, thank God, and thank my husband. But all of that and helping people is more rewarding. So I'm a believer and a child of God.
Amen. Amen. Reverend Dr. Sweet, can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Well, I've been an educator for over 50-something years now. I've been traveling quite extensively, helping teaching others, especially young kids. And now I make it my point now, even after retiring for about 10 or 12 years, I still go back in the school system now and try to be a role model for young, so they can see there's more to life than just drugs, sex, and having babies. I have quite a few degrees, but I won't go into those, but I have a doctor in ministry, and I also have a doctor in clinical psychologist. I'm a Christian counselor. And that's what I do, help people in trying to steer their lives into the right direction. Many of us don't believe we need it, but you'd be surprised what I see when I see it, because I have a test I can give you. I can tell more about you in 5 minutes than you can tell about yourself in your whole lifetime.
Wow. Wow. My God. I know what you mean, because I have a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And some Christian people frown on me when I, talk about my life coach or mention that I have a life coach.
But, Jana, my wife will tell you, I never worry about what other people say about me or to me, because that's not my purpose in life. If they have a problem with me, that's their problem, not mine. I keep right on going, doing what God wants me to do.
Amen. Amen. We'll be right back.
Dance and run across the room until I can barely catch my breath, and fall on the floor because I gave it all and have nothing left. See, I'm gon' worship until I pass out. There is no other option. See, I came to worship until I pass out. Cause we go hard in the paint, hard in the paint. We go hard in the paint. We worship hard in the paint, hard in the paint. We go hard in the paint. We worship hard in the paint, hard in the paint. We go hard off in the zone. Zone out, zone out, zone out. Blackout on them, blackout on them, blackout on them, blackout on them. Go off in the zone. Zone out, zone out, zone out, zone out. Blackout on them, blackout on them. Here I stand, blackout on them, blackout on them. Go off in the zone.
Welcome back. Many times, different families have pets, pet owners, and our pets pass away. When our pets pass away, it just leaves a void on the inside of us, and it is so hard. I remember my son Alvin, when he was in elementary school, he had a dog who got killed, got hit by a car, Jules. And it took him forever to get over it. He was really, really, really hurting. And I think even up to the day he hurts. And I think it's about over 20 years now. Last July, the Sweets went through a similar situation with their dog, Maximilian. Maximilian, how Sweet?
Mm-hmm.
How old was Maximilian?
He was 11 years old.
He was 11 years old.
The reason I can remember it so well because at that time I had just gone through cancer, a treatment for breast cancer. And when I got Max, that was my companion all during the day, always laying in my lap or putting his head on my lap. And my wife would come home, both of us laying on the sofa, so he was to protect me, would not go anywhere. And I got a chance to train him as a small pup. And you'd be surprised how obedient he was. If I tell him to lay down, he would lay down. If I sit, he would sit. If I tell him to halt, he would stop. If I tell him to roll over, Max was my dog and my companion. He liked to ride in the car with me. In fact, I'll never forget the first time he was maybe about 3 months old. I took him to the beach.
Yeah.
And all the ladies on there wanted to take him because
He had a red bandana on, and he was dressed for the beach, and all the girls fell in love with him. But I like to think back when we first got him. As soon as he was able to be separated from his mom, he was a little pup. And I wrapped him in a towel, and he brought him to me. He surprised. I was sad, and he brought him home. And I fell in love, and I was in love to the day that he closed his eyes. But he was beautiful and rambunctious. Oh, he was everything. My brother raised him, bred, had his mother. And he said, if he's going to be an inside dog, let him be an inside. But however you start him. So he said, if you put him on the patio, he'll be all right. Well, we tried that. We had a little kennel. We put him out there. He cried.
Aww.
And he cried.
Aww.
And I couldn't take it.
Aww.
And I just had to go rescue him. And the next day, my brother said, he looked at me. He said, you brought him inside, didn't you? I said, yes. I couldn't take it. So he was affectionately, my little Maxie.
My goodness. Was he sick?
Well, he became ill, yes, and but beforehand, Max was a boxer mixed with bull massey, and they grow quite a size. He was about 80 to 90 pounds, and he thought he belonged in my lap or on my Paul's or anywhere I went. He thought he belonged there too. Even riding in the car with the window down the back, his big head sticking out the window. But I'll never forget how protective he was.
Yes.
We were in Tallahassee, went to the motel, and we took Maxie with us. And I getting up next morning, 6 o'clock, to take him out to walk him. And she said, no, I'm going to walk him. I said, okay. And just as she opened the door, a runner ran by the door, and Max almost tore him up.
Wow.
He pulled my arm out of the socket. He was just that strong, and he was only like maybe
But 5, 6 months old.
5 months, maybe not 6 months, but we have the pictures of how he progressed along, and he was he had a white chest, you know, and his color was gorgeous, but his face and his ears was straight up, and he would, just looking at him, he looked at ferocious, well, he meant business about us,
Yes.
but he was very protective.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I know we were coming back through Georgia once, and a fellow decided he was going to reach in and pet him.
I had the window cracked, and he was in the back. Maxie was in the back. And before I could turn, they said, "Don't do that." You know, the sound that came from him.
Let him know.
Yes,
You not
because he
supposed
would have
to-
took
you-
his hand.
you don't
But
do
he
that.
wasn't vicious
Yeah,
to
he was
attack.
just
He was
protective.
protective. He was, but he was also just as lovable.
Oh,
To
yes,
us.
I know. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
many times when you train a dog, if you want him mean, you can put fire in him. But I wouldn't put that type of fire in him because all the grandkids were around.
Yes.
So I wouldn't do that to them. But he knew them, but nobody else. But I tell you, one of the most exciting things about him, he loves cats.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
He and the
Wow.
cat got along. They sleep together. They lay down,
We
drink
had
water
6
together.
cats.
Yeah,
Wow.
Okay, and that was his cat. Matter of fact, when Missy was having the litter of kittens, she was underneath the desk. Max, I was in California, and Maxie went and got
Yeah,
him
me,
in the
and
house
brought me
and
into the
told
room
him
where he was.
that she was having the kitty.
Yeah, I went the flashlight and looking up under there, and that the kitten was being born then.
My God, smart dog.
Very
He's
smart.
Very, very, very smart. What kind of signs did he show you, you know, to make you take him to see the vet?
Not moving as fast. He wasn't himself. He wasn't moving as fast, and he wasn't eating. With that, and when he would come to you, but it took longer. We
Yeah.
have decks outside of our house. We have 2-level decks. We live. There's a spring behind. We live in the country. My grandson said we live with the forest behind us, and so with that. And Maxie would come up. He had to come up like 8 flights of stairs.
No, there no 8 flights, but about 18 steps.
18 steps. I said flights. They flights to me. Okay, it's a lot of steps. Let's put it that way. Because when you look down, you don't want to take a leap.
Right.
But he would come up, and he would come, and so he got to where he'd come up a couple and sit down.
But he
He couldn't make it,
Oh.
and so we would go down to him.
Oh.
But we noticed him getting slower.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And what really bothered me one day, I was down in the basement with him. They used to always like to come with me in the basement because I got TV and everything down there. They would come and lay down beside me and play with me. And he was always, anywhere I was, that's where he would be. But then he bumped into the wall, walked into the wall, and just stood there. I said, "Max, what's wrong?" He heard my voice, and he could turn around where I was. And I figured then, something wrong with his eyes.
Yeah.
So we finally took him to the vet, and they kept him for 2 or 3 days.
They kept him for 3.5 days.
3.5 days. And he began to recoup because I thought he was dead before that time because he went out there and laid in the yard and I shook him trying to wake him up and he didn't move.
And when he came
I
and
came
ran
up and
to
said, "I
tell
think
me,
Max is gone."
he said, "Gone." My heart dropped. And I ran to
She
the
ran out
door,
door to see him,
and I
and
said,
he
I
done got
couldn't
up.
believe it. And I said,
He got up and
I said,
walked
"What
the
did you
fence."
say he was?" And he said he was there. I said, "He's not there." And I said, "Here he come." And I said, "Maxie," I said, "Don't move. Mommy coming to you." And I ran down the steps because he couldn't come up. It was like he was blind. And he couldn't see. And we ran down. We had to pick him up.
Put him in a blanket and a force, pick him up in a blanket,
put him
carry
in
him,
a
put him in the
blanket.
car. And I picked him up and carried him into the hospital.
So the doctor said he had somewhat of a little stroke like that because he couldn't see, and when they got him calmed down and everything.
Yeah, so they x-rayed him. So yeah.
So the vet did try to help him?
Yes.
Yes, they did. In fact, they kept him a few days and gave him on medication. He began to come back, but his stomach was not right.
Right. And they saw
They
that.
gave me all kinds of medication for his stomach. So when I went downstairs one time and I fed him, and he started eating, I was so happy to
So
see him
he
because
came
he had
back
eaten.
home.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we
brought him
right, he
back
was
home.
able to
Yes.
come back
He
home.
started eating, And I was so happy. He ate one little can of food. I went and got him some canned food. So he said, okay. I said, well, I told my grandson, go upstairs and get him another can. And so he started eating that one. But what I didn't realize, his stomach couldn't take that. And he lay down and rested. And I went back upstairs. And about 30 minutes later, my grandson came and said, something wrong with Maxie, he's not moving. So we all ran back downstairs, and Maxie was hard as that table there.
He was lying in his position.
He was like ready to sleep,
like he
but
was
his stomach
sleeping.
was swollen. So
Yeah, just like he was sleeping. And I just couldn't believe it. But one thing the doctor did tell us is to take him back home and just love him. And she knew, but she didn't want to, with telling us. Because we was taking it as hard, but we was just so happy to see him. But you know that he
walking
wasn't
around
upset.
again. So.
But did they diagnose him with anything?
Other than maybe a light stroke or something. So yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Well, see, he was getting up in age, so you know.
But he did something, and that's something that we failed to tell you. Banksy had a son, and he has a son, Doug. And
I was just about to ask you.
We have Doug. We call him Doug. His name is Douglas Sweet.
How did Doug take it?
Doug took it very hard, and he still grieves. But Doug looks just like him, except for he's much broader than him.
He had more
a little
bull
shorter.
mass in him than,
Right.
than
But
Max did.
he took it very hard. But when we brought Maxie back home to go back to that,
Yes.
he was so happy to see his dad.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he was so happy. And the reunion, I filmed it, and the reunion, they were so happy. And we were happy to have him back. And just didn't know that before that evening that he was going to be dead. He died the same evening. We brought him home that midday, and he died that evening.
Have y'all seek professional help, like, because I know some people go to a grieving counselor. Did y'all have to seek that?
No, that's my job. I'm a counselor, and I know some of the pitfalls that you run into. But I learned how to love him, and whatever happened was going to happen. And I don't regret anything that happened, but I know. But I find myself loving on Douglas, the other dog, now more than I used to, because now he's taking his father's place.
Well, he helped me with the grieving part.
Douglas?
No,
Yeah.
Dr. Sweet. He helped me with the grieving, and I grieve very hard. And we buried Max ourselves, and Max is buried in my favorite tree, a nice oak tree in the back, and he, and burying him, I was so upset, and we was digging his grave to have his service, and I got down in that grave and was doing it with my hands. I didn't realize that. Now he just let me just did as much as I didn't realize what I was doing. I just was, just Maxie all I could think of.
No, but to let her go through that.
Yeah, and that part helped me, because when I got out of that hole, I was soaking wet, and I released a lot, than holding it in. So he really helped me. And then my co-workers at work, my colleagues, they gave me a grief card, and they was very, very understanding, because they had pets. And so that helped me too, with people loving on us. And that knew Maxie. Even the police knew about Maxie, and everybody in the neighborhood knew Max and his son.
Wow.
They were they're two beautiful dogs.
My God. What about the letting go part? Have you let go yet, or how is that part, the letting go part?
Very hard. We had to let go, but he's in our heart. This is our first Christmas without Maxie, with that, and we said it. And when we come home, we sometimes expect to see him. We said, wow, with that. Or either we would look and call Doug, we'll say Max. And Doug will look. You know, he's like, when we say that, which he misses. I mean, he grieves through the night. We hear him. It's a wailing cry that he cries and grieves for his father. But what helps too is to look down, stand on the decks and look down under that oak tree and see Max's grave. And know that he's right out in his yard. That was his yard. That he's right out there.
Well, I guess I grieve a little different because I've had to go through this with about 3 or 4 different dogs. And my first one was called Skippy, and he came up with me when I was as a kid. Go to church with me. He would go to the movie with me, and he would stand up every afternoon at the bus stop waiting on when I come home on the bus. So everywhere we went. In fact, my mother could not whip us because she had to whip him first and lock the door. I said, no, you didn't bother any of the kids. No, he was very protected. I'll never forget Mr. Wilson, an old neighbor of mine. He used to come by the fence and hit his cane and hit the fence. And one Sunday morning, I'm up there in the mirror looking, fixing my tie, and he hit the fence and the fence was open, came open. And Skippy tore his pants off of him.
The gate came open.
The gate came open, so he tore his pants off of him. And Miss Wilson never to come back there and mess with the dog again.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to go through a grieving once with my Diamond, my little basset hound doggy. For 14 years, he was my baby.
Yes.
So I went through a grieving, but he was able to take me away. He took me away into the mountains. I was grieving so hard. So that was after Maxie. I just had resolved to not having ever, a dog being that attached. But when he walked in there with that puppy in his arm, it was all over. I was in love again. That was Maxie.
Wow.
But Max was very obedient. In fact, I'll never forget though when I was on what street we live on in Hollywood.
55th.
55th. And a lady was walking around the circle with her daughter, and Max seen her, and Max wanted to go there and play, but he took off after her. And I said, "Halt!" And Max stood up, and I said, "Sit." And he sit there. I said, "You stay there until I..." And the lady just hollering and screaming, "He gonna get my..." And then she come up to me and said, "You know something? Your dog mind better than my kids."
Wow.
No. When I said stop, he wouldn't go any further.
Wow.
He would stand right there. Sit. He would sit right there. So I didn't have any problem. He was a very obedient dog once I taught him.
But the memories that we have, the memories instead of the grieving part like that, the memories, and we're in the pictures, the pictures from a puff on, you're with that takes the place, and then having Doug. But nobody can replace Maxie.
I know.
Nobody.
I know. You know, dogs grieve very, very hard for their owners when their owners pass away also. Real hard. I saw a movie. The name of the movie is Hashiko. You know, in your spare time, you should, y'all should look it up and watch it. When I watched that movie, it made me cry. As a matter of fact, my brother saw the movie, and he called me, and he was like, "Georgina, you have to see this movie. You have to see this movie." And I went right away online and watched it. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
You'll enjoy it.
And it's okay to grieve with your pet, because your pet grieves when something happens to their owner. Because that's all they know. They're true and they're loyal to you. And it's okay to grieve, because that's just love. You love. I should say it's okay to love.
Yes.
And to miss that love. Because they love you unconditionally.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. The part that I usually have to work with in my counseling, don't dwell on the negative, but dwell on the happy times that you all had together.
Yes.
Those memories will live forever. And so will that pet live forever if you keep it in perspective and positive.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you very, very much for coming back on the show with me.
You're welcome.
Our pleasure.
God bless you. You were a joy and a gift. A big gift, a big holiday gift. A big holiday gift to me. Well, that's all the time we have today for on Just Reasoning with Joy. God bless you. And take care. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching Just Reasoning with Joy. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can reach me at justreasoningwithjoy@gmail.com. And if you would like to see more shows, you can go to YouTube and simply search Living Witness TV or Just Reasoning with Joy.